time for the Court Report, our bi-weekly segment with the Upper Midwest Law Center. They are a nonprofit public interest law firm on the front lines, dedicated to defending constitutional freedoms and the rule of law.
Love having him on the show. It's the Court Report. He is Doug Seaton. He's the former founder and president of the Upper Midwest Law Center. We got right to the top on this program. Mr. Seaton, how are you, sir?
I'm very good this morning, Al. Thank you. Hope you're well.
I am. I would honestly say it sometimes when I'm following along now, because I'm getting your reports. I'm following along on the Facebook. Do you get tired of running laps when you have victories? Do you get just a little run down at times and need to recharge? Too much winning going on?
We're very glad to have it. You know, it can't always be like this. So we die of overexertion, but we're glad to have these moments, and we try to savor them and pass on the energy to others, because a lot of people have to step up to join us to make this all work, as you well know.
Yeah. And I think some of it will build upon itself. Some of this is possibly so big, it's going to affect everything in Minnesota. And I would like to talk again. We talked about the omnibus bill. You were with the Minnesota Gun Caucus, right? Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus.
Gun Owners, sorry.
Yep.
So you were with them, and they didn't want the binary trigger law that was in the omnibus bill.
Yes.
And you took this, all the way up, and you got this judge out of Ramsey County, I believe, said you're absolutely correct. This shouldn't be in there. One bill, one law sort of thing. So that happens last week. Yeah. Another one got by, and it had something to do. Do you know what that one was? Another one got pulled out of that same bill.
There are a bunch of things in that bill, and we were the ones who got it all the way the distance, as you said, Al. And Judge Castro in Ramsey County had the courage to say this whole bill is wrong. It's unconstitutional. 1,400 unrelated pages are not allowed to pass as a bill under the Minnesota Constitution. Now, we had only the Gun Owners Caucus with us. We wish there had been more, because we think that whole bill should be struck down, not just the piece that related to the binary trigger language. That ban is gone now. That's no longer law. But even though the rest is still unconstitutional too, it all stands waiting for challengers. And we invite people to step up, and if they were affected by that omnibus bill in any adverse way, all they have to do is step up and bring the lawsuit and say, we were adversely affected. This is unconstitutional. We want a remedy too.
Okay, but let me ask you, you say it's thrown out now. That is no longer the law of the land. But didn't I hear that maybe Walz or the Attorney General Ellison were thinking they would appeal that? And has it been appealed? Or they said, no, you win?
It hasn't been appealed yet, though they have said regularly that they are going to appeal. It hasn't happened yet. And we will certainly defend the victory we won. It's important to defend it. And if we have that opportunity, we'll seek to extend it to others as well. As I said, plenty of others could step up and say, we were hurt too, and we want our piece gone, or we want the whole bill down.
Well, the whole bill down is where I'm going with this. And give me a law degree here real quick.
Yeah.
So if they appeal it and you go all the way to the Supremes, right, the Supreme Court to rule on this, would they literally just rule on the binary trigger bill, which you already won? Is that the only thing they could talk about? Or can the Supremes come out and say, good for the goose, good for the gander, this whole thing goes away?
Well, we believe it for in our position now, having won the relief for the Gun Owners Caucus, the Gun Owners Caucus wants to keep the victory and walk down the road. But our own view, if there are other clients who would step up, would be the whole thing should be gone. Now, if this case, as it stands, is appealed by the Attorney General, their risk in doing that is that we get to defend that appeal, and we get to say, Your Honor, you should listen to Judge Castro, not only sustain this decision, but you should tell the legislature, this is gone. This bill is no longer law. Go back and start over. And we hope they do that. And I'll tell you, when I won the first case that revived this single subject doctrine 20 odd years ago, the author of the bill, and that piece was severed too. It was a prevailing wage statute that went way too far. And it was in a bill that was unrelated, just like now, but it was only 300 pages. Now they're up to 1,400 pages. Yeah. And in that case, the author said, we'll be back, and that'll be House File number 1 in the next legislative session. And they never were able to pass it. They lost their majority. It was a Democratic-supported bill like this one. They lost their majority, and that bill never returned. So we're very hopeful that if we can strike down this whole omnibus bill, that all of the terrible stuff in there's a lot, will be gone for good, and they won't be able to muster a majority to pass it again, in pieces or altogether.
I get the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus had a standing, because I think you guys call it legal standing. Al Travis doesn't have legal standing to go and say, Upper Midwest Law Center, let's just blow this whole thing out. I don't like the idea that it doesn't do the one law, one topic thing. So you almost have to, you find folks that literally were touched by that law or any law that's in the 1,400. Is it these associations that you want to come to you, or individual humans?
We believe that individual businesses, individual trade associations, people directly affected by it, and there may be individuals too who are affected by a particular piece of the bill. But there's a wide range of topics that are available to challenge there, and we hope that many others will step forward. We're nonprofit, pro bono, supported by donors, so we only can support those who really can't manage and afford to do this themselves. But there are plenty of others who have pockets who can fight this, and there are plenty of others who would be entitled to our support. We won't compromise our gun owners caucus position. We will go with them. They were the ones who were willing to fight, and so we want to protect their rights in this appeal. But to the extent we can help others who may have the chance to challenge it, we really think they should. If we want constitutional government, people have to step up and fight for it. That's what has to happen.
Again, my cheap law degree, I want this so bad. So, Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, you have the lawsuit that you filed, and I presume it's 100 pages. You guys got to have papers. So, Al's caucus against rule number 2, I come to you, is it almost cut and paste, insert Al's rule here, and all the same little things the things you found that made that law illegal, it's just almost a copy and paste. The next lawyer is going to find it easy. They can take your work and copy and paste it and move on? Is that how that works, or is that illegal? I don't even know.
Well, these are public filings, so people are welcome to look at our complaint, our documents, our briefs. And I would say it still takes some lawyering and some work, but it is a much easier road to hoe than we had in the first place.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've plowed the field now, so this isn't the same thing as the Gun Owner Caucus had to go through. You guys have that path. It's clear, and I presume you can throw something in saying, one judge already figured this thing out. So, yes. You're already a step ahead. That is fantastic. I've got to go to break, and I want to go to break because you have 2 more huge deals going on here. Yeah. Freedom of speech is one of them, a pharmaceutical deal. I want to talk about them both. Probably can't go too in depth. I don't think they've been solved yet, but I want to talk about them with you. Can we do that on the other side?
Yes, absolutely glad to do it, Al. Thank you.
Doug Seaton with Upper Midwest Law Center on the Al Travis Show.
Are you tired of government overreach and the constant threat to your constitutional rights? The Upper Midwest Law Center is your legal sword and shield. We're a nonprofit law firm fighting every day to defend free speech, religious liberty, and the rule of law. We secure landmark victories that restore school neutrality, protect property rights, and hold government accountable. Our mission is to ensure liberty endures for all Minnesotans. So if you or your business is facing a constitutional violation, we want to hear from you. Learn more and support our work at umlc.org.
Just a quick note, Doug, if you guys want to use this on all of your social media and stuff, when we exit the show, you'll have a 30-second commercial and your close. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything until that gets done. And then I'll turn it off and you can take the whole block and use it. So
very good. Thank you.
Lesson learned from my last
Remember
guy.
that. Absolutely.
You don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on the Al Travis Show.
We've got him, Doug Seaton, with us with the Upper Midwest Law Center, talking all things court-related. You guys are just on the cutting edge of all this stuff. This story hit me for a couple of reasons. One is it's a teacher. My wife's a teacher. Prior Lake happens to be, we have some relatives up in that neck of the woods. So I start reading this story, and I don't even say unbelievable because of the way we are today, but basically, and tell me how wrong I am, she's on a private little Facebook chat with friends, says something, and I have no idea what that is, and someone copied and pasted and put it out to the rest of the world, and this gal got fired? Is that how I get the story?
That is about exactly right, Al.
Okay.
Our client, Brooke Zahn, very brave teacher, because teachers face a lot of intimidation if they don't go along with the left-wing program. And in her case, just a purely private group, as you said, she's chatting away. She says something about immigration, supporting President Trump's approach and policies. And that gets taken and thrown into the stream of other people's social media, gets sent to the school district. The school district actually amplifies this by sending it to certain other parents. So they create the problem, if there is a problem, themselves. And then they have the nerve to tell her she's going to be disciplined, suspended for this activity and never do it again, et cetera, all the usual disciplinary warnings. None of that's appropriate for a government entity or a government employer. They can't do that. They can't tell you how to think or how to communicate with your friends off duty, unrelated to your work. Now, people can't, of course, claim to speak for the school district. They can't say the school district's policy is X when it's Y, but she didn't do any of that. Purely private speech.
Can I ask the nature of the beast? And I'm going to presume, so this is why I get myself in trouble. It was some right-wing thing. It was supporting something or something, and that's why the issue was. I mean, that's what...
Exactly. And that is, in our experience, because we hear from lots of people in similar circumstances, that's almost always the case. It's the left-wing hegemony in these schools in which they enforce a Pravda-like approach to things. You've got to believe what we believe. You've got to say what we believe. Here's your script. You can't say anything to the contrary. And that's what happens in every school district we know of, because the teachers union is very left-wing. They and the board members that they dominate are running our school districts, even in very conservative territory in Minnesota. So this is a problem everywhere. We've heard from many teachers and staff about it, but Brooke is one person in Prior Lake willing to say, I've got to fight back. I may have to eat my lunch alone, but I'm going to fight back.
Well, what, if I might ask, what was the reason for termination? I mean, they can't just say we don't like you, a right-wing knothead, and you're fired. This is a teachers union, right? I mean, if you've got a contract, how did they get around? What did they say was so bad that they could get around all the rest of it?
He simply said, and it's a snarky comment. We all recognize how our political pattern goes these days. She said something on the order of, I don't have the exact words in front of me, but the family that's deported together stays together. And it was a comment on the often heard criticism on the left that, they're breaking up families, and this is so terrible in the approach to illegal immigration. And that was her comment back about it among close friends who would understand what she meant. It was not meant in any disparaging way. It was meant as a comment on the policy itself. And that is what caused all this. So yes, it was a conservative piece of speech that caused the ruckus and the school district's disapproval.
Now, because you got such a winning record, you believe you got this one in the bag, that she'll get her job back?
We certainly do. We have found that these people are terribly arrogant. They don't care what the law is. They don't care that they're abusing their power. As long as they can get away with it, they do it. And that's why the Upper Midwest Law Center and groups like us are so important, because they don't care what the law is. They talk about the rule of law, but they don't really observe it. And so we have to fight to be sure people's rights are respected. And this is a case where we will prevail. I'm confident we will. We've done it before in the Lakeville schools when Black Lives Matter was running the hallways and putting up its propaganda and refusing to allow other people's, countervailing positions to be communicated. They can't do that in government. They're not allowed to do it. That's what the Constitution says. That's what it's always said, and we're going to win.
And I get you go up against school boards, go up to the state of Minnesota. I love that. The last one I want to talk about, because, I just do my life. Religious freedom. I don't often think about pharmacists and religious freedom. I guess this is stuff I don't come up with. You're going after Walgreens and the Board of Pharmacy in Minnesota. Can you explain the religious freedom aspect of whatever this pharmacist is having a problem with?
Yes, we've got two pharmacists who have been accommodated actually all along. So Walgreens all of a sudden yanks what they have been doing to accommodate them. And the pharmacists say basically this: we don't believe in and can't give support to and lend our hands to prescribing medications that are basically the so-called gender affirming care, that are basically designed to change or thwart the sexual identity of individuals. They say we can't do that, and they've had, and people ask for these things from time to time. They get prescribed, and so other pharmacists step in and pick this up. Walgreens is a big outfit, as we all know. It's never been a burden to them. Nobody's ever failed to get a medication that they wanted, but these pharmacists don't believe they can be part of that effort. And all of a sudden, Walgreens says we're not going to allow you to be accommodated anymore. We're relying on the state of Minnesota, and I'm afraid the state of Minnesota is often behind these things. They say, oh, yeah, the state says we can't do that, so we're not going to allow you to be accommodated anymore. And we're saying that's not what the First Amendment says. That's not what our religious freedom statutory protections say. And so we're going to insist that you accommodate us, but they won't. And so a termination and a reassignment, demotion, change of terms happened in the case of the other pharmacists. And we believe that's wrong, and we're going to fight back, as we've done in the vaccine cases and many others as well, usually winning when we go.
Back to the average guy, you're just trying to get through your life. You don't even think about it. I presume the abortion pill, what do they call it, the day after pill, some of that's got to hit some pharmacists wrong in their ear, that this doesn't work for them, and then they can lose their job. Interesting. So how quickly does something like this run through the system? I mean, I got only a minute and a half. Is this something we'll know by the next legislative session?
More than a minute and a half, as you know. That's a long time. Now, we try to accelerate these things because we don't want to spend our donors' time, running through trials for weeks and weeks. That's not our mission. We will if we must, but we like to get to a dispositive motion, they call it, where we say, here's the law. They say, oh, no, it isn't. And we one of us wins, and we appeal if need be, and get a decision at the appellate level that gets printed up nice and tidy that everyone can follow. That's what should happen. That's what we hope to have happen. And that could happen within a year. Sometimes it's even quicker than that. It was quicker in the case of the defunding case. We got an even quicker decision in that case at the first instance. So, but it takes too long from the point of view of our clients and average citizens. We try to accelerate it.
Mr. Seaton, do this for me. If someone's listening to this and they're like, hey, I got that, this thing happened to me, or this is, you're up my alley. This omnibus bill, I've been affected. How do they get a hold of you and see if they're a fit for the Upper Midwest Law Center?
Sure. We have a website. Just look up Upper Midwest Law Center in your search engine. You'll find us. We have portals there to get to us by email. Usually is the best way to do it. Or you can mail things to us as well. We do have that happen. As you know, we're at 12600 Whitewater Drive, Suite 140, Minnetonka, Minnesota 55343.
Right.
And they can get us in any way they can, and they can find us in the website as well.
Okay. UMLC.org. Check it out. Out of time. Thank you very much for coming to the show program, Mr.
Thank
Seaton.
you,
Appreciate
Al.
you a
Glad to
ton.
be here.
Are you tired of government overreach and the constant threat to your constitutional rights? The Upper Midwest Law Center is your legal sword and shield. We're a nonprofit law firm fighting every day to defend free speech, religious liberty, and the rule of law. We secure landmark victories that restore school neutrality, protect property rights, and hold government accountable. Our mission is to ensure liberty endures for all Minnesotans. So if you or your business is facing a constitutional violation, we want to hear from you. Learn more and support our work at umlc.org. That's the Court Report with the Upper Midwest Law Center, with some insights into their mission to defend liberty and the rule of law. For more information on the cases and issues we discussed today, and to learn how you can support their fight, visit umlc.org. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the next Court